Hello everyone, Shaman here, and today we're speaking about Apparmor. What is our Apparmor? Apparmor is a security module that binds itself to the kernel of Linux, and what its goal is to contain an application and have a specific profile for that application, so we can dictate what that application is allowed to do and not do. So perfect running example is, let's say you have a website, you have Apache, and that website has access obviously to the document root var/www/ your website, and all it is an HTML site, not dynamic. Now, should Apache have access to your documents outside of that container? Well, no, because Apache shouldn't be reading anything to display the page aside from the document root of the website. Should it be able to execute scripts? Of course not. So what Apparmor aims to do is to corn off each individual application, and that helps in the event that somehow someone compromises Apache. They will only be able to do what Apache is allowed to do. And with Apparmor, there's no way for someone to break out of the Apache service and then run some other scripts. Of course, unless there's an exploit and stuff like that to bypass Apparmor. But that would be very tricky because Apparmor is embedded into the kernel. So once the kernel says no, that's pretty much it. It's also called a mandatory access control, and it's part of the Linux LSM, Linux Linux file system management. So it's heavily embedded into the OS. It's actually, if you're running Ubuntu, you already have it. If you just open up a terminal and type in sudo apparmor _status, it's already included. So these are different profiles for things like, there's one for cups, there's one for TCP dump. The reason why there's already some in here is that, for instance, you'd have to generate one for Apache because depending on the developer of the site, they could store their data somewhere else in some other folder or have different calls. So if I'm running an PHP website and it's calling on PHP functions, well, I'm going to have to generate a profile based on that, or else when it tries to call on PHP, if I generate it based on an HTML site, it's going to say, well, no, right? The reason why some of these is that we already know how these work. Like the creators of TCP dump, okay, they already know exactly what their application does, what it needs to access. It shouldn't change. So one has already been included with the install. As a matter of fact, when you install certain things in Debian, you'll see sometimes where it says app pending or waiting for Apparmor to update, or it's installing the Apparmor profile. Okay. Now, in Debian, there's some additional configurations that we'll do. Okay. So if you actually type in Apparmor _status like I did, and this is a fresh install, and I'm doing this, although you can see the result up top, it's not there. Okay, so what we'll need to do is install two additional things here. So the first thing you'll need to install is apt-get install Apparmor -profiles. Okay, and then after we install profiles, the next thing we'll have to install is Apparmor utilities. Okay. You will see some errors here. Don't worry about that for now. Okay. And now you'll see Apparmor utils for utilities and install those. Okay. Now if you type in Apparmor underscore status, okay, now we'll see what we have. Well, obviously this is different than what Ubuntu has, because in Ubuntu it's already enabled. In Debian it needs to be enabled. Okay, so right now it's not enabled, and Apparmor is available in the kernel. Okay, now you will have to update grub, okay, if you're using grub as the bootloader. As a matter of fact, I believe even if you're not using grub, you have to run this below command. This below command is available on the Debian wiki. I'll post the link in the description. Okay, so let's just run this command. Okay, let me see. Oh, I forgot one thing. Okay. So the grub underscore command line slash Linux underscore Linux underscore default, that is case sensitive. You have to do it like that, and then pretty much everything else can be lowercase. Then after that, we'll type in update-grub. Okay, and then reboot. Okay, and now that's how you install Apparmor. Okay, after the reboot, we do Apparmor status. It is now enabled, and it already has certain profiles that are already loaded. Okay, so now we'll exit out of this virtual machine and we'll go over to the other virtual machine I have running, because we're going to create a profile. Okay, so this is a test website I have. No, it's just a plain old WordPress site, nothing special. Okay, and we'll SSH into the box it's running on. Okay, now if I do Apparmor underscore status on this, it's already installed. I had already configured this. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to create a test plan. So what a test plan is needed for is that we need to show Apparmor how Apache, because we're, sorry, I should say, let's go back. We're going to generate a profile for Apache on this WordPress site. Now, we need to have a test plan. The test plan shows Apparmor how this application works in normal use. So we need to shut down Apache, turn it up, see what the events are, restart Apache, what events are there. We need to surf the website, click on the home button, click, let's say, one of the posts, stuff like that. What does the post call on? What files is it calling on? We need to know in order to show Apparmor how this application reacts and how it responds, and what resources it's calling on, so that if I ever click on hello world, and instead of calling on hello world.php, it calls on hello world.cgi, well, that's not right. That's not normal activity. Something's wrong. Okay, so in order to generate a profile, it's you type in aa-gen prof. Okay, and then just hit enter, and now it'll say which enter the program to profile. We're gonna do Apache 2. Okay, and now it'll say, hey, before you begin, you may want to find if a profile already exists. You can definitely do that, and there are some included profiles for Apache, but because this is a custom site, each site is different, I'll just generate it from the beginning. Okay, so then the next thing that we'll do is pull up another terminal. Okay, and now, like I said, we have to shut down Apache. Okay, so now that Apache shut down, go over to our other terminal window that's listening and hit scan. Okay, so now that we see that Apache calls on apache.conf for the configuration. Yes, we want Apache to see its configuration, and yes, we wanted Apache to load the configuration in conf.d. And the character sets, yes, we want to allow that. Localized error pages, yep, we need that. Virtual host access logs, yep. And the security tab, of course. So just for the sake of time here, I'm just going to allow all these. Okay, and I know that this is a clean install, so nothing funky is going to happen here. Okay. Just allow these events. Okay. So what I need to do is I need to actually abort this change. I need to run genprof again because I made a mistake here. So pretty much you need to do all the events. So we need to stop Apache, which we already have, start Apache, okay, restart Apache. And then what you do is use the site. So pretty much you're generating the profile, use the site, you need to start the profile, reload the profile, start the service, reload the service, use the application, like in this case the web app. Okay, you don't need to necessarily click on everything because, like for instance in WordPress, all this is in WP content. So if we allow access to that directory, we allow access to most of this stuff. And like for instance the plugins, okay, like if we have access, if we give access to the plugins folder, all the plugins will work. Okay, so now that we have that, now you can hit scan and allow all of the directories, as I say. And this amazes you how much, just by how much is going on in the background. Like, just as just a basic WordPress site, and look at all the directories and stuff it needs to call on. It's pretty cool when you look at it from this aspect. Okay, so we're going to allow all the changes. Okay, then we save the changes and hit F for finish. Okay, now that we've created a profile, you don't want to just throw it out there. You want to put it in what's called complain mode. The reason why is that in case we forgot, let's say during the test case, we didn't know that when I click, for instance, hypothetical situation, tools, that it calls on some complete off directory. If I were to click tools and it did that, that site would die. It would break because the kernel would say, no, Apache, you can't call on that directory. So what you actually do is you type in AA, so AA complain, and then Apache 2. Okay, so what this does is that it takes Apache into complain mode. And now with complain mode, any type of weird activity that would normally trigger an event for Apparmor to stop, let's say, tools from executing, it'll report to us rather than let us know after by breaking our site. And now to find out any type of complaints, you can just go var log and then cat syslog. Okay. And then what you can do is actually, instead of just cat, you can do tail-f. Okay. And now all the related Apparmor messages will show up within that output. Okay, and now you can see, for instance, the profile. It called on certain things, certain applications. It called on some things that that it didn't like here. Okay. Actually, that's not true because everything here is showing to be allowed. We're not showing anything that would be denied. Okay. So what you're actually looking for is allowed operation. Okay. And now, once you're comfortable with how your profile is behaving, you can then tell Apache, instead of complain mode, Apache enabled, AA enabled Apache 2. Oh, sorry, let's make a correction. That it's not AA enabled, it's AA enforce Apache 2. Okay, so enforce mode means that anything here, if the operation was denied, it'll automatically start breaking the site because now it's enforcing, and before, as I said, complain mode. So just to sum it up, complain mode tells us if something would be denied, and then we can fix it. Enforce mode denies it. Okay. And now after you hit enforce mode, you can start seeing if it's broken your site. Okay, and as you can see, it has. So this has some work to do. Okay. So for instance, when I click on pages, add new, it's broken. And now I can see why if I go back to tail syslog, once I'm in the proper directory, that is. Okay. So I denied operation, okay, and then it denied, and it'll tell you where it denied it. So var wp -admin post -new.php. So we will want to modify the rules. Now, one last thing, and in order to modify your rules by hand, you can go to etc apparmor.d. If you do ls, you'll see that there will be a user usr.lib apache2 prefork apache2. Okay, so you can just nano and come in here, and any type of any directory that you want to add, you can just add it here. Okay, you can also add wildcards, but in my opinion, it kind of defeats the purpose. The only reason why I say that, I would do a wildcard for, say, var/www, but how about if somehow someone got access to the var www by, let's say, hacking, your FTP server on the server or something like that, and put in a malicious app. Now, if I spend the time in clicking every single link on my page, yes, it takes forever, but I've literally given a list of exactly what files are in my website. And now I know websites change and stuff like that, but not normally the file names. The content might change, but not like the file names. So we can be a bit more safer, or a bit more paranoid, by adding just each and every single file in my website. Now, some people may disagree, and I know, for instance, if it's a page that changes a lot and the user file names do change a lot, then you may want to add a wildcard. Now, you can add the wildcard for a specific directory or specific file name, and so yeah. So that's Apparmor for you. I hope this video helped you out understanding Apparmor. If you have any questions, which I love to hear, just leave them in the comment section below. You can also visit me at seanmancini.com, or you can email me any questions you may have, seanmancini2010@gmail.com. If you have any suggestions for any upcoming videos, please leave that in the comment section below as well. And thanks for watching.